Hello you guys, it's me, Lisa Perez, your master coach for women, and I help women rise to become unstoppable leaders in their life and business. So I'm so happy that you're here for this next episode. Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be talking about what we need to do in order to make ourselves happy and how to finally stop self-sabotaging. And if you stay to the end, I come up with 7 surefire ways to stop self-sabotage. So ladies, self-sabotage is such a struggle in our own little world, right? We're always self-sabotaging all the time. It never ends. There's always going to be so many other ways that we're going to self-sabotage. We're always going to find some way to do it, right? And it's always going to happen. But what if there were 7 ways? What if there were several ways to really finally nick self-sabotage in the butt and start kicking butt so we can finally live the life that we desire and just do what we can to achieve an unstoppable life, right? How does that sound? Pop in the comments below, let me know what you think of that. I know you'll love it. I know it's going to be amazing, and that's why I'm here today. So first, what I wanted to talk to you guys about is, how can we nip self-sabotage in the bud if we really don't know why we're self-sabotaging? So I have a few ways that ways that we do self-sabotage, and so pop in the comments below to if there's other ways that you can think of. But I have 4 ways that I know for myself I've self-sabotaged, and I know for others that people have self-sabotaged. And number 1 is our own self-hatred, because guess what, ladies? We are our own worst critics. If you did not know that before, and if you didn't know that before, well, guess what? Now you do, because yes, we are our own worst critics. It happens all the time. We bug on ourselves all the time. We're never really truly happy with ourselves. There's always something that we're going to fight with our own selves about, right? We don't look good in this outfit, or our calves look fat, or our shoes don't fit, and we're going to do every single possible thing to make our shoes fit. And when it doesn't, we're going to be all upset because that's just how we are. We want things to happen, and when it doesn't happen, we become our own worst critics, right? I mean, think of it like, I don't know about you ladies, but I'm a shoe fanatic. Let's be real. I'm a shoe fanatic, and I have tons and tons of shoes, and I even have those little, those few pairs that I put away, leaving to collect dust in the back of my closet, hoping and praying that I'm going to fit into them. I'm an adult. I don't know if my shoes will fit. I really don't. My feet will shrink, but we like to tell ourselves that, right? And when it doesn't happen, and when it's been a while and our shoes still won't fit, well, guess what? We're our own worst critics, and telling ourselves that maybe we gained weight, during COVID. Maybe we gained a few extra pounds that we didn't want to, or maybe it's because our calves are fat, or maybe because we believe that our feet are swollen. That's why our shoes haven't fit, right? But little did we know that our feet do grow as we grow older, and it's been years. It's been years since those shoes haven't fit, but we love them so much, right? So we're always going to tell ourselves something to be our own worst critic. That's always how it happens, all the time, right? And that's just one example that we actually tend to self-sabotage. And when we're entrepreneurs, we're always self-critics, right? Because we're always talking about, we want to finish a project, or we want to complete a project, but for whatever reason we make excuses of not finishing that project because we say maybe it's not good enough. Or we look into our competitors and we're like, oh, guess what, our competitors are doing this project better, and so we just half-ass it, and we just don't do a single thing about it. We don't finish it to completion, right? Because as I said, we're our own worst critics. Now, next, comfort zone. This is a big one for self-sabotage. Ways that we actually self-sabotage is staying in our comfort zone, staying in a place that is, super comfortable to us, that, you know, that it's too scary to get out of our comfort zone. It's too freaky, or, you know, we don't have the courage to do it, or we don't have the perseverance or the resilience to do it, right? So we're always staying in a comfort zone, and little do we know that, you know, our courage and our desires of our heart, our passions in life are generally outside of our comfort zone. But we're going to stay in our comfort zone because why? Well, just as the term is, it's comfortable. It's not scary whatsoever. It's what we're known, right? What we're known to do, and so we're always going to stay there no matter what. And it's going to be, we find it very hard, and we tell ourselves, actually, the BS excuses that we tell ourselves, the lies that we tell ourselves, is that it's too hard to leave the comfort zone, and so we're just going to stay there. It's too hard to do this thing that we're going to do, so we're okay with being stagnant. We're okay with being where we are, right? And little do we know, we're self-sabotaging ourselves because we don't want to stay there, but we're going to tell ourselves every excuse in the book in order to stay there, right? It's such a vicious cycle, such a ripple effect. Overthinking is another one that we self-sabotage. I don't know about you, but I used to overthink a lot. And I mean, to be completely transparent, I do at times overthink, right? In many situations. But all the time we're always overthinking, you know? It's fine to put, you know, pros and cons of our decisions, but sometimes there's many times where the greatest decisions of our life is decisions that we make in an instant, decisions that we make just like that because it feels right, because it feels in alignment, right? So overthinking tends to you know, sabotage our own well-being and the own desires of our heart all the time, right? So that's another one. And of course, everything that wraps up all of this that I've been talking about is fear. Just like, you know, the quote, the statement says, fear is fear, face everything and rise, or forget everything and run. It's a choice that we choose to do either which way. But when we're allowing fear to keep us where we are, example, comfort zone, and our comfort level, and our becoming our own worst critic, because, you know, us being our own worst critic is actually staying in our comfort zone, right? And overthinking, it all derives down to fear of taking that action that we want to take, fear of, you know, being even too scared. It sounds cliche, but there is a fear of being too scared, fear of, you know, completing that project, fear of public speaking. Like, we have a passion to public speak, but yet we're going to allow our fears to stop us and allow us to stay in our comfort zone and stop us from actually accepting a gig. And we know that it feels right. We know that it's the right thing to do because it's along the lines, it's in alignment with, you know, our passion for public speaking. But yet the fear is going to get in the way, and we're going to say no to it because we're too scared to do it. Believe me, that has happened to me before. I can account a couple of times where I want to, you know, I have a passion for women empowerment, right? To empower heart-centered boss babes. Well, just a quick example. I had an opportunity to public speak. Wasn't a big group whatsoever. It was less than 20 people, and I had an opportunity to public speak. But because of my fear, I said no. And it was to empower young girls, and I said no, and I made an excuse of why I had to say no, and it actually tore me up inside. And I said, you know what, why did I have to say no? Like, why couldn't I just do it? Why did I allow fear to stop me? So fear ends up, that's a number one reason for many of us women to self-sabotage. Now, onto the more positive notes there, but that's okay, because even though you go through your own self-hatred, even though you go through your comfort zone, or you're stuck in your comfort zone, even though you're overthinking things or tend to overthink things, even though you have a fear of something, there's ways to tackle it, ladies, and that's why I'm here, because there's 7 ways that I could think of in order to stop self-sabotage and finally nip it in the butt. Number 1, break the patterns. Break the patterns. That's it. Stop being stuck. Make a decision. Just stop being stuck, right? Breaking the patterns. I spoke about, you know, I spoke about being in the comfort zone, right? Well, breaking the patterns, it's like, okay, I'm stuck in this comfort zone. I'm stuck in maybe this dead-end job, and I want to build a business, but I'm too scared to build a business, or be my own, boss babe, to build my own empire. Then find a way to break the pattern. And I know it's easier to said than done, but find a way to break the pattern. Get out of your comfort zone. Get out of your own way, which really ties in every single thing that I've spoken here, is get out of your own way and literally break the patterns of your own comfort zone. Find a way to get out of comfort, right? Find a way to, break the fear, to tackle the fear head on, and rather than walk away from fear, run towards fear. Run with fear, right? Run with fear. And find a way to break the patterns so that you can finally live the life that you desire. You can finally live a passionate life. You can finally, be happy with whatever it is that you're doing, right? You can finally be happy with your relationships, with your friends, with your own self. That's a big one, right? I spoke about self-hatred. You can finally be happy with your own self by breaking the pattern of your own self-hatred, because what's the opposite side of self-hatred? Self-love, right? So even though we're our own worst critic, right, we can tell ourselves things that empowers us rather than disempower us, right? Focus on our own self-love. That is one fabulous, fabulous way of breaking the pattern, right? I spoke about the shoe example. This is a cute example, but you know how I told you earlier when, with the shoes, when it's like, okay, we find shoes that we love so much, but we're just finding ways to kind of be our own self-critic, be our own worst critic, and okay, the shoe doesn't fit, well, we're gonna make it fit, but maybe our calves are too tight. Remember that conversation? Well, another way to stop being stuck and breaking the pattern is being like, oh, okay, the shoes don't fit. I'm gonna give it to someone else. I'm gonna give my offering, the shoes, to someone else to enjoy that actually does fit. My calves are fine, and my calves are beautiful, and I love myself, and this is just an opportunity to buy more shoes, to put it very bluntly. There's an opportunity to buy more shoes, and it ends up working in both ways, because someone else is enjoying the pair of shoes that doesn't fit, and you're breaking the pattern of telling yourselves or disempowering yourself and saying that your calves look fat, or your shoes or your feet are swollen, or whatever the case may be, and you're blessing someone with a pair of shoes, and you're getting some new ones. So that is a womanly way to break the pattern, right? Self-reflection. Self-reflection is a great way to self-sabotage, right? Self-reflection is a great way to stop self-sabotaging. Mindfulness, going through your own self-reflection, going through, prayer, meditation. If you notice that you're self-sabotaging, and we're going to talk about self-awareness in a little bit, but if you notice that you're self-sabotaging a lot, and it could be as a boss babe, it could be as an entrepreneur, it could be, in your own personal development, in your own personal life with your relationships, right? By going through self-reflection and taking some time to yourself. And this is not selfish, because I know a lot of women are like, they want to do self-care, but a lot of times I know one of my clients was saying, I feel selfish doing it. Well, self-reflection is exactly that. It's a way to give yourself some you time and to actually self-reflect on your own self-sabotage, why you're self-sabotaging, right? Becoming aware. So like, as I said, mindfulness, meditation, there's so many different ways to really go through self-reflection in your own terms, whatever self-reflection means like to you, right? Basically a relaxation moment to give yourself some time for yourself, right? To really understand your own emotions, to really understand who you are. And so that's one way to actually stop self-sabotaging, and it helps. It really, really does help, because I go through all of the stuff that I'm going through, all of the points that I'm going through. I've done it myself, so I know that it works. So that's why I'm sharing it with you, and I'm so happy that I can share it with you. So if there's other ways that you can self-reflect, pop in the comments if I didn't mention them. I only mentioned a couple, but pop in the comments below and let me know of other ways that you can go through self-reflection for yourself. That would be so awesome. Another one is having an accountability partner. You guys, this is key. This is it's not a main staple, right? But it's a great way, especially if you are one that tends to procrastinate a lot. Having an accountability partner is awesome. It helps a lot. so that you're not self-sabotaging, right? Because more often than not, when we're self-sabotaging, it's mostly the people that really that has a kind of huge codependency, right? Like that depends on others to kind of tell them what to do, right? And I tend to be one of those people, right? Relying on others to be. I'm not as independent in the fact that sometimes I can't make decisions for myself, right? I need other people to kind of help me through those decisions, rather than make the decision whether I think it's right or not. I need those people, right? I'm dependent on my husband a lot to really help me through those decisions, right? Help me work through those decisions and ensure that it's the right one. So maybe you're one of those people, right? Not as an independent woman, but someone with a little bit of a codependency that needs the accountability partner to help to stop self-sabotaging, right? That's okay. That's okay to ask for help. That's okay to have an accountability partner, especially when the accountability partner also tends to self-sabotage as well, right? Because then both of you can help. It could be your best friend, could be a coach such as myself to help you through, right? It could be so many different things. It could be a mentor, right? Someone that you trust, someone that you know, like, and trust. That's a big one. Could be a significant other, right? But just having the accountability partner there to kind of cheer you on and support and encourage you, right? Another one is, of course, I spoke about self-awareness. So how can we tackle self-sabotage in the butt if we don't know if we're self-sabotaging, right? Or how we're self-sabotaging. So becoming self-aware of our own sabotage makes a world of difference, right? So making different choices in self-sabotaging. If we are queen of procrastination, which that's how I dub myself as, if we call ourselves queen of procrastination, well, how can we make different choices so that we don't procrastinate? It could be a way of, finding an accountability partner. It could be, tackling a to-do list, writing a to-do list, right? And just holding ourselves accountable that way and ensuring. I know a lot of people that are kind of really into, papers and organization and that type of stuff, stop self-sabotaging because of having a to-do list, because they've physically written it down and they feel accomplished, crossing things off the thing, like check, right? So many people do that. So maybe that's you. And if it is, maybe that's a way to find yourself not in procrastination mode, but you're in more kind of organization mode, or rather than the queen of procrastination, you're like the queen of being the person that you want to be, right? So just making different choices in life so that you're not self-sabotaging, that is a big one. And that brings me to making a decision. Making decisions, because I know as a procrastinator, and I know when we're overthinking, we tend to stop ourselves and make excuses for ourselves so that we don't make decisions. But in all reality, making excuses for ourselves is actually making a decision, kind of, sort of. And I say that because when we're making excuses for ourselves, we're making an excuse so that we don't make a decision. So it kind of ends up being such a kind of a vicious ripple effect that we're having trouble, or we're having huge difficulty making a decision, and it just doesn't happen. And so therefore we overthink things way too much. And so making a decision, usually quick, especially when it feels right and it's in alignment with you and your purpose and your brand and your vision, making a decision will really, really help you to stop self-sabotaging, to finally stop self-sabotaging, right? Instead of making excuses, every excuse in the book to not do the thing that you want to do just because of fear, just because you're too scared, or you're too overthinking, or it's way out of your comfort zone and you just can't have it, or whatever the case may be, right? Another one is empowering yourself. And this is big when I spoke about the self-hatred, empowering yourself rather than disempowering yourself. Because as women, it's very easy to disempower ourselves. It's even harder to empower ourselves, right? Very hard to empower ourselves. And even harder when someone around us is trying to empower us, because when we're disempowering our own selves and someone around us is trying to empower us, we don't believe it. We roll our eyes and we're like, yeah, you have to say that, you're my husband, or you have to say that because you're my mom, or whatever the case may be, right? But empowering our own selves will really help us to stop self-sabotaging, to finally nix it in the butt and be like, you know what, I can do this. I love myself. I love my story. I am enough. I'm beautiful, whatever the case may be. And And so rather than, disempowering ourselves, because as I said, we're our own worst critics, so why can't we be our own biggest cheerleaders, right? The complete opposite of self-hatred is self-love. So find a way to empower yourself. And it could be the power of your thoughts, could be the power of your words, but just finding that mind, like shifting your mind in that manner will greatly help you stop self-sabotaging. I've done it, and so I know it works, because I was, of course, my own worst critic in every single shape, way, or form. And I started empowering myself with with my thoughts, with my emotions, with my words, and it helped a great ton, a huge ton. And when someone actually said that I was beautiful, or someone actually said, you're inspiring or whatever, I actually believed it, right? Rather than not being like, okay, well, you have to say that. No, I actually believed it for myself, because I started empowering myself first and foremost. So that's big. Last one is focusing on your inner world rather than your outer world. And I wrote a post about this on Instagram. Check it on Instagram. The Coach for Women is my tag, or my username, right? But I wrote a post about this, focusing on your inner world rather than your outer world, because this is big, and it ties in everything, right? That's why I put it as number 7. It ties in with empowering yourself, self-awareness, holding yourself accountable, self-reflection, breaking the patterns. This ties in everything. It's like the cherry on top of the cake, right? Because when you focus on your inner world rather than focus on your outer world, and what I mean by that is rather than focus on judgment, because we're very quick to judge, and we're very quick we could be a very easy target for judgment, right? Because there's very judgy people out there. And so we could be very quick in listening to those judgments. So rather than focus on what people are doing, or what our competitors are doing, what decisions they're making and what decisions we're not, why they're successful and we're not, it all starts with our own self. So when we're focusing on our inner world, everything changes, because the moment, and I created this quote, the moment that we focus on our inner world, our outer world starts to change, because it's true. When we're focusing on our own personal development, when we're focusing on our own inner power and stepping fully into our inner power, everything starts to change. Our outer world starts to change. We start to look at the world differently. We start to look at other people differently. If we were judgmental before, we stop being judgmental. We start to hold ourselves accountable rather than place the blame game. Our entire inner world changes, right? Body, mind, and spirit, every single thing. We start to believe in ourselves more, rather than say our calves are fat. We'll be like, oh, our calves actually look really pretty freaking awesome today in these shoes, right? We start to empower ourselves in every which way or form when we focus on our inner world, when we focus on our heart, as I said, when we're fully stepping into our own inner power and all of the high vibes, we start to become in a beautiful state, in a peak state, and we really start to just enjoy life, and every single thing that we're doing makes us happy, right? Just like my caption, just like the title of this video. Do these things to make you happy. Finally, nix self-sabotage in the butt, and you'll notice how your entire world starts to change, and you receive transformation and breakthroughs. So guys, those are 7 surefire ways to stop self-sabotage. Right? And I even, just for fun, came up with ways that we do self-sabotage, and what we can do to nix them on the butt. So just to recap, how to stop self-sabotage is breaking the patterns. So stop being stuck, right? Self-reflection, mindfulness. Pop into the comments if there's ways that you self-reflect and ways that have helped you so you can help others. Having an accountability partner is huge. Becoming self-aware, so making different choices that you may have not made before, but it stops you from sabotaging yourself, right? Making a decision. This is a big one in order to self-sabotage. So start making decisions for your own life, and empowering yourself rather than disempowering yourself, and focusing on your inner world so your outer world starts to change. So pop into the comments if you think of more items that I did not list, more items that have helped you so you can help others. That would be awesome. Like, share, and subscribe in this video, and make sure you click the bell so that you can receive the notifications on my video. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Share with your friends, share with family, share with everybody that you love and admire the most. And And pop in the comments below to let me know what you think. So I love you guys. Stay empowered. God bless you, and we'll see you